Good morning, good morning, do 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 do. Good morning to you. Good morning and welcome to a daily dose of joy. I was distracted when I was singing to you guys. I could feel these little guys spinning and swinging around. And these were earrings my mom wore on her first date with my dad when he took her out dancing. And they both say that the earrings hypnotized him into falling in love with her while they were dancing. So when I was singing, I could feel them and I was like, oh, I'm going to hypnotize you into joy today. So I was already getting my laugh on before I said good morning. Yes, they're her beautiful earrings. And today is a Woopsie Daisy Story day. That's the tool we're going to use to dose our brains with positive neurotransmitters. Let's say neurochemistry, same thing. But I really want you guys to feel confident trying Woopsie Daisy Stories. They have a profound capacity to shift our thoughts throughout the day so that where there's a negativity bias, to be irritated or frustrated, you begin to pattern your brain and create the pattern of seeing the humor and the lightness. So it's not just about the neurotransmitters. It's also about shifting our thoughts throughout the day. And it makes life so much sweeter when we're not focusing on all those negative thoughts and negative reactions. And neurochemically, it's really great to affect our thoughts because those negative thoughts also produce chemistry, cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine, right? So something goes wrong and you have an alert, you jump, that's gonna take us in the wrong direction. We're wanting to build up a heavy supply of those positive neurotransmitters, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. So give it a try. We don't have to be comedians. We can just share what we find funny when we sort of look through a different lens, and your capacity to see the humor will grow and grow and grow. Just take a little step in that direction and find something funny in your day-to-day. Because then you end up with this amassed library. It's fantastic. So I was going to do some stories, some Woopsie Daisy stories about mosquitoes. Skaters. Yeah. We live here in the South. Mosquitoes can fly down and get you. And so my first story, Woopsie Daisy story, was from when I was sailing. It was a period of time when I was solo sailing. And on this particular night, I was out on a Bahamian island chain, very far from civilization. And there was some reports on the radio that there might be a storm coming through. So when that happens, one of the great things about mangroves are these bushes that have roots in the water and branches, and they're almost like a thicket on the edges of islands. But they provide great shelter in a storm. So I was like, okay, well, I've never done this before, but I'm going to take the boat up into the mangroves as much as I can and tie out some lines to the mangroves and just settle in and, weather the storm. And so I'm feeling quite proud of myself. I get all up in here and I'm like, okay, well, gosh, we don't have any breeze up in here. This is gonna be hot. So I finally get everything tied off and anchored down. And so now I'm opening all the portholes and you kind of unscrew them and you open them up and then there's hatches and latches and portholes. And so I'm all through. It's a small boat, but there was, 12 portholes and hatches and latches. And so I'm opening everything up, trying to get the little whisper of summer breeze down into the boat so that I would be able to sleep comfortably, And just as I get everything opened up and I'm feeling like, all right, I've got this, I got it. I hear the zzz in my ear, then the zzz, and I'm like, okay, well, I can handle a little of that. And I I have a mosquito net that I could put on over my sun hat. So it was like, like out of Africa, but that's what I was doing. So I'm wearing my bathing suit and a sun hat with a mosquito net over it because they were kind of bothering my face. And I'm thinking, oh, I've got to make dinner and do other things. But then they just kept coming. And so that it wasn't a fear of being bitten as much as it was they were like just everywhere, and the sound of them, oh my gosh. And so I've put on my wind gear, so now I'm sweating. It's like one of those jogging suits from the 80s, the plastic suits people would put on so they'd sweat and lose, or wrestlers would wear to drop weight right before a wrestling match. That's what it was like. I had my rain gear on to keep the mosquitoes off me, the mosquito net. And I'm now trying to close every one of those patches and hatches and portals and latches as quick as I can, because what happened was the sun went down. As soon as the sun went down, they were like, it's our time to feed. And they came out and they were like, a human being must have gone out the call far and wide, because I was the only one for 30 miles. It feels to me, when I think back on it, like the air was black with mosquitoes. I can't imagine that was actually true, but it felt like it. And it sounded like it. So I get everything closed up. Now I'm in a sealed, hot boat. It's probably 80 degrees at best outside. And now I'm sealed in the hot boat with the mosquitoes. A swarm of mosquitoes. And so I've still got on all this hot gear. So I got the rubber suit, the sealed boat. And now I'm like, what do I do? They're in here with me. And I'm like, okay. So I put socks over my hands. I'm just like, okay, I'll seal myself off and just forget dinner. I think I ate like canned ravioli out of a can, cold. And I'm like, let's just try and lay down, go to sleep, wait for this to be over. But it was so loud. I mean, it was so loud that I was like, okay. So I start swack, whack, 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 trying to like diminish the numbers interior. And I'm also just way too hot. I've got to take off all this rubber gear. So I get it all done. Everything's looking good. And then I hear the sound outside. It's gotten late by this point, and the sound is sort of subsiding. And I'm like, oh, I think like their feeding time has passed. Let me just open this one hatch a little bit to let a little whisper of air in here, a little breeze. And I open the hatch. It's like, whoopsie daisy. I start the whole cycle again. Attacking the skeeters. And like whoopsie daisy after whoopsie daisy. I get there, I open everything up. Whoopsie daisy. It's feeding time. Close everything down. Whoopsie daisy, they're in here with me. And then open it again. It was a very funny moment. And it was the only, what could you do but laugh? So that's mosquito story number 1. Mosquito story number 2 takes place down at our family farm. And we've invited friends down. It's summer. We're having a wonderful time. We actually have very few bugs because we have bats and predators that keep the mosquito population low. But we had a friend out who's particularly sensitive. And so she had some bites on her chest and some on her arms, and she was really uncomfortable. So we're making dinner and the kids are all around us. And we head back to the laundry room where it's like we have a little medicine shelf up there, a little first aid shelf. And I grab a can from the first aid shelf because she was helping her kid with something, but was asking me to find it. And so I'm, trying to be the Southern hostess and make it, her dream of Southern hospitality come true. And I sweep in with this Benadryl spray and spray it on her arms and her chest. She's so thankful, like, oh, that's great. I put it away. And then I start hearing her say, this really stings. And I'm like, I guess it has some alcohol in it. And then she's like, oh, no, it's actually now it's starting to burn. And we go back in the laundry room, and I have taken a can of Deep Woods off the shelf and sprayed it on her. Itchy bits. Now it's got stingy, itchy off spray. But then it gets worse. I'm like, whoopsie daisy, I'm so sorry. But then the off is like this industrial army grade that our family doesn't even use, but it's there for like, I guess when we need to clear the bush or something. And so we have to go outside with dishwashing soap because water wouldn't wash it off. And we're hosing her down, got the dishwashing soap. I end up feeling so bad. I'm like hosing myself down. We end up deciding to wash our hair in the dishwashing liquid and make little foam things out of it to entertain the kids while we are trying to wash off the off that wouldn't come off. There we go. Whoopsie daisy. What can you do but laugh at it when you're torturing your friend? I mean, Yes, life with mosquitoes. I just thought those were a fun way of illustrating that mosquitoes can be annoying and they can make people feel annoyed and irritated. And so it's neuroplastic gold for us to shift our perspective and laugh at the little squirmy creatures. You guys, thank you. Thank you for humoring me in my silly mosquito stories. Thank you for opening your mind up to the idea of integrating Woopsie Daisy stories, shifting your focus and laughing. I hope you have a wonderful day and that it surprises and delights you with some... I don't want to wish a whoopsie daisy on you, but just that you find some humor in your day. And I look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow.